Welcome to the next session, Women in BME, and I guess that means I'll be leaving very quickly to hand over. But first, I want to quickly introduce our panelists. So we have Cara Roberto, Sarah Lopez, Alicia Matavosian, and Brittany Schurtrum here. I think, is everybody here? Just had to quickly cover my screen to read the names. So if you can maybe, each of you does briefly introduce yourself, maybe what year you are, which lab you work in, and I think then we'll just open the floor for questions.
Okay, I can start. So my name is Cara, and I'm a second year, and I work in the Putnam lab on drug delivery.
Hi, I'm Sarah, and I'm a second year as well, and I work in the Van Asser lab on meniscus tissue engineering.
I'll go next. Hi, everyone. I'm Brittany. I'm a fourth year in the Fishbach lab studying the breast cancer tumor microenvironment. And I'm also the co-president of the graduate section of the Society of Women Engineers here at Cornell. So happy to answer any questions about that.
And lastly, I'm a first year in the Van Asser lab. I'm working on a smart syringe project, and I'm currently the mentoring coordinator of BMEW.
Also, Sarah and I didn't mention that we are past board members for the BME Women's Group. So maybe I can just say a little bit about that, and you guys can think about questions you might have. So a year or two ago, an older cohort of students revived the biomedical engineering women's group that had been an organization in the past. And basically, the goal of the group is just to foster community building and mentorship between members of the BME community who identify as women. I think women in STEM often face unique challenges, and so this kind of provides a space for us to build each other up and discuss those challenges, and also kind of network with members of our community and increasing efforts to network with female members of other engineering communities across campus. So the organization hosts events like journal clubs where we talk about relevant issues, more like social events, like we've done baking Zoom, like bake along events since quarantine started. And we're hoping, I think the group in the future is hoping to do more like mentoring type events that they can speak more to as well. So this organization is open to all members of the BME community. So if you were to choose to come here, you could be part of the community. You can be as involved or as uninvolved as you choose to be. And there are other groups across campus that support women, like Brittany mentioned. There's the Graduate Society of Women Engineers group, and there's GWIS, I think, Graduate Women in STEM, and a couple of other groups. So yeah, there's lots of resources and opportunities. So if you have any questions, please ask them now.
While everyone's thinking, I can just jump in a little bit about what we do with Grad Suite. And so there are two different SWE chapters at the school. There's one that's undergrad focused, and then we have a grad school focused one as well. Occasionally we do combined events, but we find that there are, pretty big differences in what, like a 19-year-old sophomore or freshman undergrad is going to be looking for in events as opposed to, a 26-year-old grad student. So we try and, have events that are focused towards specifically graduate student needs and things like that. So we have three main branches. We have professional development, outreach, and social. And so Grad Suite also works with other women's groups on campus to have combined events. We're hosting an event later in the month with the BME Women. We've done other events with Women in Computing at Cornell, or graduate professional women's organizations at Cornell. But basically within our subgroups, we do professional development events. So we do things like fellowship reviews for when people are writing their NSF statements. We did an Adobe Illustrator workshop, an introduction to Photoshop for publication purposes. So we do technology kind of things along with that. Our social events we do just to kind of do networking across different engineering fields on campus. I think that we're lucky in BME in that we have a very high percentage of female graduate students, but for other graduate fields at Cornell, that's not the case. So we kind of provide an outlet for everyone to kind of mingle like that. And then we also do a lot of outreach work. So we help BMES with Girl Scout Engineering Day. We'll do things through the Science Center, something that we've been doing kind of, virtually as a combined social and outreach event is something that we developed called Crochet for Charity, where we Zoom session in and learn how to crochet, and then we donate these things, in this case, to the Cancer Resource Center of the Finger Lakes. So we had an event yesterday. I'm starting to make this shawl so that they can have them in the chemo room when it gets cold at Cahiga Medical. But yeah, that's some of the things that Grad Suite does.
If there's no questions, then I guess I'm going to open the floor up and ask a question is what kind of events do you guys do within BME and other organizations on campus to help promote women? You said you promote women, but what kind of events do you do?
I guess, Brittany, do you want to go first?
Nope, go ahead.
Okay. In terms of promoting women for BMEW, at least, I guess we have more of a focus on networking at the moment and getting people to know each other. And as was previously mentioned by Kara, we are working on the mentoring program and bringing that back together. So our main thing right now is just women support women. We're trying to get an internal network that will eventually spread on, hopefully, to the alumni from the school. Then we'll be able to branch out further from there. We do have the journal clubs that were mentioned before, where we talk about important topics like, women empowerment and, like the paycheck differences and STEM between women and men and important topics. So for us, I would say at least there's the focus on networking, mentorship, and community.
Another cool event that BMEW often hosts is when female speakers come in for our seminars. Then we get a group of us together so that we can have a lunch with them and we can ask them very personal questions, and they're always happy to answer just about their career and how they felt going through their career as a woman. And it's really helpful, and they often have really great insight.
And kind of similarly to that, BMEW will also host events where you get to know the female faculty a little bit better, especially the ones that you might not interact with. Like there are a couple lecturers who are female faculties. Even the department chair is a female faculty member. I'm sure you've met Dr. Vandermeulen or will at some point. And she's a really strong advocate and strong supporter of the BME women's group. So that, I think, also provides a cool opportunity to learn what their careers have been like and kind of get guidance from them and share experiences and kind of reach out a little bit more beyond just your PI and your lab group.
Yeah, just to add on to that, actually, we do have faculty coffee hours every month for the rest of the semester where we're doing just that. We're going to sit down with a single female faculty member, ask them how their research is going, ask them personal questions, and just sit down and have a sort of personal conversation with them.
I guess just to chime in a little bit more, I think one of the big benefits of our department and the support that we have for, our women's group and things like that, are the opportunities that we get, especially to talk to, women faculty members and postdocs and people who have gone through the process. I think it's a really great opportunity to have those smaller spaces to be able to talk to them, especially on, I think, topics that are, not necessarily going to be discussed in large group settings. So even things like, how to dress and how you're perceived in what you're wearing at conferences or presentations or things like that, or something that I know comes up quite frequently with female faculty and a lot of the women in our group are, questions on, starting a family and at what point in your career might be a good place to do that, or, how other women have approached making these decisions, which are something that, male faculty don't tend to think about as much. They're not the ones usually, taking as long of a maternity leave and things like that. So I think that those are really great opportunities to be able to talk about those issues, which is the importance of these women's groups on campus.